It's sunny outside. It's not raining. The humidity has come down. And the VIX, look, we lost about 2.5 points. We're down below 20 again. So everything is awesome.
Yeah, I mean, the PPI came in.
Famous last words there.
Bed-friendly.
exactly.
Everything is awesome. Plop.
Ish.
Ish. It was a Fed-friendly report. All eyes now to CPI tomorrow. We'll see what happens. But look at all the green on the screen. Investors optimistic.
The soft landing narrative is back. It's like, the global market meltdown didn't actually happen.
Guys, but then we're still seeing a huge bid into the bond market. That feels to me, is that still a fear factor? Or is that just, hey, Feds are going to cut, it's all great, it's still the soft landing? I'm skeptical, guys. I'm skeptical.
That's a great point, right? We saw both bond and stocks moving higher today, right? I thought they weren't supposed to do that.
Buy all this stuff.
Yeah, and that's the other question, too. It kind of raises this whole conundrum for the Fed. You start to look at the differential between where Treasury yields are and where the Fed's funds rate is. And then if you want to overlay the differential with where headline inflation is or even core inflation is, I don't know, is the Fed behind the curve?
I don't know. We just spoke to Aaron Kennan over at Clear Harbor. He's cautiously optimistic that, a soft landing could be on the horizon. Maybe 3 rate cuts by the end of the year, 75 bips.
Yeah. Well, a bit of risk appetite coming back into this market. You see that with the VIX tamped down, Bitcoin back above 60,000, and green for most of the major indices here in the United States of America. The Dow Jones Industrial Average up by about 400 points or 1% on the day. The S&P looks like it's going to close higher by 90 points or about 1.7%. The Nasdaq adding about 2.4% on the day, while the Russell 2000, Carol, higher by 33 points or 1.6%.
Yeah, and I thought it was interesting, too, to see some kind of buying into the close here. The S&P 500, Scarlett, you're going to go through the industry groups, but you have 425 names in the S&P 500 gaining ground on this Tuesday, and Scarlett, only 75 to the downside.
Yeah, it's pretty lopsided when you look at the sector performances as well. Here's the IMAP, pretty much your pesto pizza. There's some red slices there. Energy down 1%. And food and staples, also, kind of mixed right now, but really it's energy. Everything else is green, particularly tech, up 3% on the day. Consumer discretionary up 2.4%, and communication services gaining 1.5%.
That is a brat chart. I'm just going to say it.
Wow.
I know.
Very 2024.
Thank you. All right, let's get to some of the individual gainers. Starbucks finishing at its highs pretty much of the session, up 24.5%, soaring the most ever. It is your number one gainer in both the NASDAQ 100 and the S&P 500. We know the story. Chipotle CEO Brian Niccol, he will be taking over the top spot in September. Big deal. We know the activist investor Starboard has been looking for some kind of shakeup, but nonetheless, all eyes and ears going to be watching on this one and what it does to kind of change around some of the metrics that haven't been so good. I mean, this company, 2 straight quarters of comparable sales declines. We've seen the stock under pressure, so not today. Very different narrative around Starbucks. All right, Supermicro, also an outperformer in today's session, finishing the day with a gain of about 5% here, top in the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ. I got to be honest, not sure why some investors may be looking forward to some upcoming investor conferences in August and September in which the company is participating. Maybe there's some news that comes out of it. Our BI team, though, was
remember,
out with
Carol,
a note.
they had pulled out. Remember, there was a lot of concern that they had pulled, and now they're basically saying they're going back in. So, I don't know, let the speculation
This is why
begin.
we have you, to keep me honest.
Is this why you have us? I thought it was just to get you coffee and tea.
That too. Our BI team also out with a research note on Supermicro, saying that the company is poised for sustained AI sales and EPS lift through 2025. And one more on holding, up about 4.3%, well off its highs of the day. At its highs, up more than 9%.
Is this the semiconductor company or the shoe company?
No, on holding, the shoe, the ticker on.
Roger Federer wears them. It's his sneaker company.
Carol Massar wears them too, so don't make fun of me. I know some
You would never. They're apparently really cool.
There you go.
Thank you. Phew. I was a little worried. It also brought names like Nike, Foot Locker, Dick's Sporting Goods, and Under Armour also moving to the upside as a result. On holding, they were down initially in the pre-market, but finishing the day, as we said, up. Second quarter sales topped estimates. They did have a small profit miss, but nonetheless, the company also did back its full year guidance of at least 30% sales growth. So there you go.
All right. You got the gainers. I got a couple decliners. And
it was hard, right?
Yeah, it was actually so hard that one of my decliners turned into a gainer, guys.
Just barely.
Wow.
Just barely. I'm busted.
Okay, you
That's what
want to
happens.
start from the bottom and go up? Or
No. I want to start with Chipotle. Start with something firmly in the red today. Shares fell as much as 14%. At one point, it was the most intraday since March of 2017. This after the company Said chair and CEO Brian Niccol is going to leave the company at the end of the month. He's going to become chair and CEO of Starbucks. We just heard that from Carol. Starbucks, for its part, or Chipotle for its part, rather, COO Scott Boatwright was named Chipotle's interim CEO. Analysts acknowledge Niccol's departure adds uncertainty, though they are confident in the outlook for the company given its leadership team. Also, keep an eye on shares of Baxter International. Ended up falling 6.55% today. The company said it's selling its kidney care segment to global investment firm Carlyle for $3.8 billion. Investors, though, Alex, it seemed, wanted more. Shares falling by 6.5%.
All right, taking a look at the bond market, there was some moves here, buying all across the curve, particularly in the front end. I think I said exactly those same words yesterday as well. We're at the lowest level for yields since the beginning of August. So quite interesting there, guys. We're down for about 2 straight days. I feel like this sets us up. I wonder how clean positions will be as we head into CPI.
Yeah, it's a really good point, right? We'll see whether or not how tested they might be. All right, guys, let's get to some stories that have definitely caught our attention. Once again, some data out showing gender differences, and once again showing women being more flexible than men. Just going to put that out there.
That's why you picked the story.
You got it. All right. There's a gender divide in how recent college grads are responding to a cooling U.S. jobs market. It turns out college-educated women are sticking with their jobs and their job search, even as the number of vacancies shrinks. Many of their male peers are choosing, Tim, to take a break and maybe back off of it.
Yeah, so 1 in 5 under the age of 25 are neither employed nor actively looking for work. This according to the latest 12-month average in a Bloomberg News analysis of government data. It contrasts, Scarlet, with the data for female grads. It shows their participation rate is holding broadly steady over the past few years.
And the reason, as Carol alluded to, women are more flexible in that they're more likely than men to take on part-time work, or maybe something that they're overqualified for, or maybe not their first choice, but they're thinking, you know what, I'm going to work, I'm going to support myself, and then I'll trade up as I, continue along.
I don't get it. So then what do the men do? So if they're going to take a break, like, what are they doing?
They're living with mom and dad.
Like, how do they eat and buy stuff?
Mom and dad.
Well, but it does also sort of illustrate something bigger about the economy, and that job market is cooling. So not just for recent college grads, but look at the July payrolls report. I mean, this is exactly what the Fed wanted to have happen, to cool the labor market, to cool the economy, bring inflation down. But there are some implications for those college graduates entering the workforce.
Did you see where it also said, oh, wait, women are better than men? I don't know if you saw that, paragraph 5.
Oh
All right, all yours.
Wow, I don't
That's
know.
harsh.
I don't know how I feel about that. But I guess we're outnumbered here, Tim, 3-2 here. Speaking of which, Carol, the next proposal that you get from a significant other, it might not be with a real diamond ring.
I'm done.
I don't know. Who knows? But you never know, Carol. And apparently, a lot of the companies out there, including Pandora, the CEO, is actually a little bit concerned here about the rise of lab-grown diamonds. They've really caught on now. Remember, when this first started, everyone kind of just thought it was kind of a gimmick. The uptake was really low, like 1 or 2% of sales. Now we're up to like 20% of sales. And the CEO of Pandora says that could grow to like 80% of sales within the next decade or so.
Yeah, and it's a pretty incredible, this move within 10 years. I know my brother proposed to his fiancée, and she specifically requested a lab-grown diamond, and he had to go all over the diamond district to look for one.
Actually, funny you say that. I also know people who've done that too. They're like, don't spend the money on a real diamond. That's ridiculous. Get something shiny and pretty, and then we'll just do it that way. But I'm with Romaine on this. I feel like this has been a slow burn. I remember doing segments about this like 15 years ago, and it was like, no one's actually going to buy this. And now, boom, finally.
So what has changed? Have consumer interests changed?
Money?
Or is it because prices?
Well, based on what I've seen, they're significantly cheaper. And if you can't tell the difference, like I couldn't as a layman, you can't tell the difference. Why wouldn't you do it?
I think it's a great thing. I think there's a lot of controversy and things around diamonds and what you have to do to kind of find them. So, that's fine with me. So the next time I get, a proposal or get married, it'll be
kind of wish this would have been a thing just a few years ago when I was going through this whole process.
Oh, yeah. Where'd your diamond come
Anniversary
from?
rings, Tim.
Yeah.
Anniversary rings.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Good call.